Hey there, all you beautiful Texans. Welcome back to the James Show. It's News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. I don't know why I'm in such a good mood on Thursday. You know what? Let me tell you why. Because the brunt of Milton's done, and I know there's still, bodies in the street, but it's minimum compared to how bad it could have possibly been. And now that sort of the worst damage is done and we're in recovery mode, now it's okay to be political about it. Now, in fact, you should be political in your response and how we talk about it. Make sure everyone's okay. We've done that. Everyone who needs to get help, they're either in the hospital already or on their way or have refused help. So the reason why I want to jump on this is because we're just a few days away from an election, and this is actually a good test on how people will govern. Let's see how they react in an emergency, especially for one of the candidates who didn't go through the primary process and didn't do anything but just one piddly debate this entire time. We don't know a whole lot about it. She still hasn't done a press conference. So let's ask my first guest, Connor Vassell's on from Young Voices. Welcome back, Connor. So far, how would you grade both Trump and Kamala's response to Hurricane Helene and Milton?
Good day, sir. Yeah, so what I would say is that, the federal government being the federal government that it is, it's unfortunately unsurprising how they did react. I mean, a whopping $750 per person who applies if they have been affected adversely by the hurricanes. This is just government bloat, government bureaucracy up the wazoo, as it has been every single time. I actually just wrote a piece that's about to get published regarding this and the federal inefficiency when it comes to hurricane relief. And what we see from that camp, I would have to say Kamala's camp, is that they are doing are they even doing the bare minimum? I don't even know at this point. The bar is so low. But for Trump and any other people, at the end of the day, we're all Americans. We don't want to make it into political, but we can definitely see the political flaws and the reactions from both sides regarding this. So hands-on approach, actually helping those on the ground who are affected by these storms. That's the way to go. And just lobbying, lofting all these promises, this and that, we'll help you, give or take a few months. People are just not living up to that anymore.
Well, and I find it hard to give Kamala a bad grade because in her defense, she's not supposed to be involved in any of this. She's the vice president. The vice president has very little power. If there's a tie to be broken in the Senate about hurricane aid, maybe she can jump in. But I guess, just as her regular vice president, not powers, but the attention that she gets, she could use her public face and the media to, help with donate to the Red Cross or donate some time or here's how you can help and sort of direct efforts like that. But I don't expect her to go out and start knocking down drywall and like physically helping. And there's not a whole lot for her to do through government. So it's kind of hard to give her too bad of a grade.
I mean, I don't expect her to be doing all that because as we see, she was supposed to be the border czar and the AI czar, and she hasn't been doing any of that either. So I don't really expect her to do much of anything. But besides that, even as vice president, as we saw with her recent interviews, she backs everything that Biden has done, policy-wise, statements, etc. So, at the end of the day, who's really running this administration? We don't know. We haven't been seeing anything from the Biden camp in quite a bit other than a few sparse statements here or there. So she's trying to be the front runner. She's trying to show America that she's the leader, the one that they can confide in. And right now, just as always, she has been failing.
So where is Biden? Do we even know?
He's on a beach somewhere, I think, last time I checked.
All right. Connor Vassell, thanks for being on the James Show again. How do they find your work outside of WBAP?
Thank you, sir. They can find my work on Amazon. The state knows best. And I'm Joe Biden in his own words if you want some entertainment. Thank
you very much. Is there audiobook versions of that?
I'm working on it. I got to clear my voice, so I'm going to do some voice acting for that.
Are you going to do it yourself?
Maybe in time. I got to find some time, but yeah, that'll be nice.
Let me know if you need a hand. I can do that.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Thank you, Connor. All right. Another round of applause for Connor Vassell on the James Show again. And it's okay. The storm is past. It's just now going off into the Atlantic. And not only is it okay to bring politics into this, it's a good idea to examine politics on this because, there's some lessons to be learned here. Number one, for the 100,000th time in American history, the federal government has demonstrated how slow and inefficient and poor it is at meeting the needs of its constituents. And even though we don't have to go through this, I'm gonna tell you what it's like to be a Texan, to be someone from up here. And I was never in a hurricane my entire life until I moved down there for a few years. And look, there's some things they don't show you on TV that you could kind of intuitively think these people are going through, but I actually went through it. So I'm like a Texan who went down there, went through a few of these, and I'm going to come back and sort of report to you what they miss in the TV coverage here and what they don't, these news reporters that talk to randos on the street. I mean, they can kind of give you an idea, but I'll give you sort of a day in the life of what's going on right now in Central Florida as a hurricane just passed less than 12 hours ago. If you've got any comments, if you've been through it, if you have a hurricane story like this, 800-288-9227, 800-288-9227. I'm James Parker. It's The James Show, News Talk 820 WBAP, and now on FM at 93.3. Hey there, all you beautiful Texans. Welcome back to The James Show. It's News Talk 820 WBAP, and now on FM at 93.3. Well, our neighbors in Florida are suffering, but the storm has now passed, and we are in recovery mode, which in my book, it's okay to talk about politics when you're in recovery mode, because in this instance, we're judging how our potential next leaders will react in a crisis. So I think it's all fair game, and I bet my next guest does too. Raven Harrison's back on the show. Raven, in the last segment, I know you probably didn't get to hear it, but I played Bill Nye, the science guy on MSNBC, saying, hey, if you don't want more hurricanes like this, you need to vote for Team Blue.
Yeah, that was absolutely garbage. So if we have more hurricanes, we know the only one who's going to fare well are illegals. So that's what we're looking at now. And as a resident of both Texas and Florida, I've gotten to survey it firsthand from both sides, and he's an idiot.
Do you think he really means that, or is he just saying that because it's politically expedient?
I think it's politically expedient. I mean, the reality is anybody who was even possibly on the fence now cannot look at this and see the response that has been from what is Biden and Kamala. DeSantis is getting it done. DeSantis is doing exactly what he's supposed to be doing as governor, and I give him high marks for that. And Kamala is doing what she does best, which is basically being the poster child for useless people. She is campaigning. She's turning this into a political dumpster fire. No response. The belt she was wearing from Hermes cost more than they're giving victims who have lost everything, and then had the audacity to tweet about $157 billion going to Lebanon. I mean, she is out of her freaking mind.
Well, now I know how you stand on that. I haven't heard any talk of people wanting to relax the voting rules because of this. And that's something we were concerned about when the storms were happening. Is this going to be an excuse to try and, slip in one past the goalie? What are you hearing on that front?
We're hearing it on both. Since I was in Asheville when that's happening, they're having a lot of problems now because they haven't made, the governor there, Roy Cooper, has made no provisions for the people in the affected areas to vote. On the flip side, in DeSantis, he has really been at the top of the charge of this, of making sure that that's been a priority to ensure that people who are in these affected areas have the ability to cast their vote. And that's the important thing. And I think that was by part of the plan with Kamala and her team, because they're really hoping that Republicans can't come out, especially after seeing this horrific disaster relief response by this administration. I mean, it has been horrible. For 2 days for her to show up in the areas, and then a phone call to Florida. And I'm really proud of DeSantis for nuking her from space for trying to turn this into a political. Like, I've never heard from this woman before, and I'm talking to the president of the United States. And I was like, wow, that was savage.
Well, he made the good point that of the 25 or what other hurricane emergencies that they've had previously while she's been in office, she's never called him before. She's just calling him 28 days before an election. And he's right. That timing's a little suspicious.
And correct. And that is something that he was also right, that he's dealing with the people. They're going to have to pick which side of the lie they want to be on. Either Biden is sharp as a tack and he really is the president, and that's who he should be speaking to, or he's not, and Kamala is running this country and she's responsible for all of this. So I wish they would pick what side they want to be on. But DeSantis is correct. If he is, the president, then that's who he should be talking to. He said he's had no problem with Biden or Trump on this, so he gave credit to both sides. It is just Kamala who is ridiculous. She's doing damage control because most of the people who voted for her in North Carolina are underwater or hanging in trees right now.
Do you think this is going to have some effect on the election?
I think it's going to be huge because the bottom line is whether you're Republican or Democrat, starving is universal. And I was there firsthand. I'm not even speculating on what I saw. It was all of us together trying to figure out. We never saw FEMA, never saw any emergency resources, no information, police not telling us anything. It was people helping people. It was Americans, regardless of whether you're Republican or Democrat, going, okay, you need a meal, let's share this bag of chips. That's what I saw, is the American spirit of us helping each other. And like always, the government doing absolutely nothing.
Right. So, well, when you were out there and you've seen a lot of hurricanes at this point, in the aftermath, do you see people going to home improvement stores to get gas power generators, or do you see them going and getting windmills and solar panels? What's been your observation?
Yeah, I'm not seeing a lot on the windmill and solar panels. I'm seeing a lot of them scattered all over the terrain. But what you see is, and they're right back to work. I mean, Floridians are not sitting there lamenting their losses. They are back helping each other. They can't reach their friends. They're out there with their trucks trying to help clear their yards. And that's what we want to see right now. But it is going to affect her. I think this is going to cost her the election. I mean, it's
really,
Americans need to know that you have their back. And right now, she has not had their back. FEMA's out of money because they've been providing for illegal aliens. That is the crux of this administration. So she bought votes, but she's lost American support.
All right. So Raven Harrison, my guest, her organization right now, the ROAR PAC. ROAR stands for Restore Our American Republic. So if you go to the ROAR PAC, PAC.com, you can see what she does outside of the James Show. What else do they need to know about the ROAR PAC?
And the ROAR mission, that's our veteran-led C4 that is on the ground helping people. And that's what they need to know, is we're giving people the blueprints. This is not as much political as it is reviving the American spirit. So we need to get meals to people. We need to help our vets. We need to protect our vote. And that's all it's about for the next 20-plus days until the election comes.
All right. Thank you very much, Raven Harrison, on the James Show again. I appreciate your time, Raven.
Thanks, James.
Coming up next, FEMA is not doing a very good job getting resources to people in North Carolina. Don't forget about them. I know Florida is getting the attention today, but there's a lot of suffering still going from the previous storm in North Carolina. And I have some bad news for you. You should not be surprised by this. You're going to hear some gut-wrenching audio next. And if you want to call in and comment, 800-288-9227, 800-288-9227. I'm James Parker. It's The James Show. News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Hey there, all you beautiful Texans. Welcome back to The James Show. It's News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Yeah, let's go. Welcome back to the big show. It's 800-288-9227 if you want to be a part of it, 800-288-9227. Now, before I was so rudely interrupted by the news, I'm just kidding. We love the news. I'm asking the question, look, I'm seeing lefties saying Trump is not going to accept the election results if he loses. I'm seeing righties. In fact, I got a message this morning from Gary that says Kamala's not going to accept the election results if she loses. She's the vice president. She's the one who has to certify the vote. Remember the position Mike Pence was in 4 years ago? That's what she's going to be in this time. My question to you is, which do you think is more likely to be true? My next guest, Anthony Russo, Truth Will Set You Free podcast. Which one do you think is more likely to be true?
Well, I think that Trump's going to win. So I think the more likely to be true is based on the fact that Trump's going to win. It would be Kamala. But if there's one that would be more apt to disagreeing with the election results, I would say it's Donald Trump. But it's as we can see, it's not a risk for the Democrats or democracy. Just because he says that he doesn't believe it, it doesn't change anything. It'll still be Kamala as the president. So both sides I think are going to have issues with the election when it's over with. More so, I would lean on Trump.
Yeah, and I don't think that they're not going to certify the election results or do anything to try and stay in power. You know, at some point we've always seen them relent on both sides and just go along with the results, no matter the amount of chicanery or unanswered questions, which is a compliment. It's not a complaint. But Anthony Russo, you already answered my next question. Who do you think is the front runner going into these last 26 days? Why do you think it's Trump?
Well, I think what J.D. Vance did during the VP debate was a big deal. I think that was a turning point. And then, as we're seeing the polls that I don't always believe it, but when the polls are starting to show the favor of Trump, Kamala actually slowing down in momentum again. That initial momentum that was all about propaganda and Brett Summer and she's the coolest candidate. I think people are starting to go, okay, they're simmering down. The people that were gung-ho to vote for her that might be the potential non-votes, I think they're becoming the non-votes. They're seeing how much she struggles. They're seeing that she is not presidential. They're seeing the fact that although they don't want Donald Trump, she's not much better. So I think her momentum has slowed drastically. She's not helping herself out at all. And Trump is doing some big things. I was actually in Butler this last week. I was in Pennsylvania.
Did you go to you went to the?
I did.
Oh, wow. You went to the rally. Look, super cool. How the heck?
And honestly, the momentum that he has, and I used to do crowd sizes. I know. I mean, there was 50,000 plus. Was it 70 or 100? I don't think so. Maybe 50 to 60. But the actual momentum he has with an Elon Musk, with people getting behind him, I think it's something that will carry him through the election. To be honest,
will the hurricanes be a factor?
Well, will these hurricanes? If you do the math. North Carolina is going to be the issue. Obviously, I don't think Milton did quite the damage they were expecting, the tornadoes. Yeah, but that's Florida. Florida's not going to change. North Carolina is now going to potentially shift to a blue state, which would actually make, if everything goes to plan for the Democrats, it would make it a 269. I think that's the way that it works. But I think that the people in North Carolina, we're not hearing a lot about. We're not hearing enough about what they're going through, and I think that it's going to start to shift some of the middle ground blue voters to say, my friends, my community is not getting the help that they need, so maybe I will switch my vote to red. Again, I think that North Carolina is where things are going to change based on the hurricane or where it could change, but I still don't think that's going to change the outcome. If anything, nationally, that should help Trump to see how poorly the response by the federal government has been in Hurricane Helene.
So you think that this will swing North Carolina for Team Blue? Because you look at Western North Carolina, and it's all red counties except for two blue dots. One of them I think is Asheville.
Yeah,
and I don't know what the other one is, but you're right. That's an overwhelmingly red part of the state.
Yeah, I think and I don't think it's making people shift their ideology. I think right now the red voters, it's a heavy red area. The red voters in that area their concern right now is not voting. Their concern is survival. Their concern is making sure that they can get running water. Like that area has become a third world country without the help of any aid of the federal government. And as much as people go, I thought you weren't socialist. There is a purpose to paying taxes in emergencies, and this is it right here. And I know right before we went on, they talked about the fact that Joe Biden wants to bring people back to Congress and get them to vote for more money. I just want the answer of where the $20 billion that they did during the summer for FEMA and for these for pending disasters, where did that money go?
Yeah, where did it go? Some of it went to illegals. How much really doesn't matter. The fact that any of it went to illegal should make people mad. Exactly. But are the voters going to remember that? Are they going to hold the incumbent accountable for that?
I think the national voters are. Again, I think North Carolina is a different situation right now. But I think that there is what it's going to do. I don't think too many people are going to be changing their mind anymore. There's going to be people that decide to either not go vote or to go vote for the people they were already going to. And I think that what we're seeing in North Carolina, I think will drive some of the Republicans that typically sit out the elections. I think it's going to drive them to the polls. I think it'll activate their voice. It'll activate them to go, I've got a right to vote and I'm going to use it because what I'm seeing is dangerous. And I think that that's where it's going to help Trump.
Well, without North Carolina, that means the Republicans will have to win both Michigan and Pennsylvania. That's just really hard. The math gets really hard without North Carolina because, I'm already assuming Georgia is going to go red too. So this really tightens up the margin of error here.
Yeah, it does. And I think the math is right. If they don't get North Carolina and they lose Michigan but get Pennsylvania,
still lose.
That's not the 269 situation. I could be wrong.
Well, I don't know what you're doing with the other states. I have Georgia red. I have Wisconsin, Minnesota blue.
Minnesota blue. Yeah, I think I think Michigan is again where it's all based on current polling and where we could be, and mathematically it's a little bit confusing. But I do think Pennsylvania right now is definitely a Trump state. I think Georgia is as well. I really do think the big things, take away North Carolina, because again, that could throw a wrench in things. I do think that Minnesota is the one that's a risk. I think Wisconsin and Michigan both go towards Trump right now. I think the up for play states, or the states we need to pay attention to, are Minnesota. Minnesota is the one that's really watch out for, in my opinion, as well as Georgia.
How's the podcast going?
Not too bad. Been busy. A lot of different stuff going on. A lot of arguments with people on the opposite side. We like to call them debates. They call them arguments. I call it just having a conversation.
Yeah. All right. Check it out. Anthony Russo, The Truth Will Set You Free podcast. Thanks for being on the James Show again.
Thank you. Take it easy.
Coming up next, the feds are trying. They're trying to get us here in Texas to hook up to the national grid again. And I can't get, why do they want this to happen so bad? Because I can't think of one good reason, but I can think of a few bad reasons that aren't good for us. And why aren't we more resistant to this? I mean, we've been resistant up to this point, but why do they even have the impression we would entertain the thought? 800-288-9227, 800-288-9227. This is the James Show, News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Hey there, welcome to the James Show, News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. You know, I kind of wish I could go back to school. If I could go back to school knowing all the things I know now, wouldn't that be great? Wouldn't that be great to have like a professor pop off and start doing some woke stuff or lecturing about climate change or racism or whatever, and you just refute it? How fun would that be? How much different would college be? Now, you'd still be annoyed by, you know, the normal, superfluous, unnecessarily social aspect of school, but the actual meat and potatoes of school, wouldn't that be fantastic? Wouldn't that be great to go back? And again, you have to do it with the brain that you have now. But before I get into this Kansas professor, let me play a hero on the James Show. This is a young man who looks like he's about in 8th grade, and he's done with the girls at his school. Speaking of school, and this describes my daughters.
I swear, I'm done with the girls at our school. Every day, they come into school wearing these tight leggings with Nike white socks up to here over the bottom of the leggings. Then they come in with their Stanley water bottle and they go, and then they wear a sweatshirt that doesn't have a hood. Sometimes it's big, sometimes it's small. Always has a print right here that says like Myrtle Beach or something. And then they walk in and they go, "What's up, girl?" I'm done. It's every day.
He's the hero for our times. But you get out of middle school, go through high school, you get into college, it gets even more ridiculous. What we have here is a University of Kansas professor. Now, the headline on this is a little misleading. All you right-wing outlets, you don't have to say things more sensational than they are when it comes to stuff like this. Because I saw in 2 different places the headline was, professor says, men who don't vote for Kamala Harris should be shot. And I was like, wait a second. When I go listen to the video, that's not exactly, it's close. It's not exactly what he says, but it's close. I'll let you listen and let's talk about this.
Guys are smarter than girls. You got some serious problems. That's what frustrates me. There are going to be some males in our society that will refuse to vote for a potential female president because they don't think females are smart enough to be president. We could line all those guys up and shoot them. They clearly don't understand the way the world works. Did I say that? Scratch that from the recording. I don't want the deans hearing that I said that.
So that's what the controversy, or somewhat controversy, is supposed to be over. Now, he adds the qualifier in there. If they don't vote for her because they can't vote for a woman, they should be shot. So I wouldn't vote for Kamala Harris based solely on her economic policies and a bunch of other ways that she would choose to govern. But if she had my preferred policies and she was a female, I'd vote for her in a second. So my vote isn't against her based solely on her gender, because that's a different story. That's It's kind of a reprehensible thing to do, illogical thing to do.
Potential female president because they don't think females are smart enough to be president.
Yeah, because they don't think females are smart enough to be president. Okay, so now let's go visit exactly what he said, because the sensational thing to me isn't that this guy says people who don't vote for Kamala should be shot. He didn't say that. I think the crazy part about this is we have a professor in Kansas who thinks there's a significant part of the population that's unwilling to vote for a female because they think they are not intelligent enough to do the job. I mean, show me one. Is there one politician that's their position? I'll wait. Is there a host on Fox News that's their position? Is there a host on WBAP or our sister station KLIF 570 AM and like 99.5 HD2 or something like that? Nobody believes that. Who are you talking to? Who are you fighting against? Like when I have to watch the NFL games and it says end racism in the end zone. Who's the pro-racist crowd? Who's out there like, man, can we spread some more racism around here? That's what I'm running for. I'm the pro-racist guy. There's not one person, whether you go to the Senate, House of Representatives, all the governor's seat, all the state assemblies, state houses, state senates, the unicameral legislature in Nebraska, city councils, county commissions, school board presidents, superintendents, dog catcher. Find me one that will get on his Facebook page and leave a post right now that says, hey, everybody, I'm pro-racist. Sure do love white supremacy. They're arguing against nobody. And this guy's over here flaming up a bunch of college-age kids. There's a bunch of people out there that won't vote for a woman because they're so stupid they need to be shot. Well, I don't find that to be very inflammatory because the number of people that need to be shot, even under those conditions, is probably zero. He's just living in a fantasy world. I think some people really have convinced themselves. Like, I don't think that when like Rachel Maddow says he's Hitler, or Jake Tapper compares Trump to Hitler, they know he's not really as bad as Hitler. But there's some just easily led automatons out there that sure do act like they believe it. And that's the only way that's a rational statement. Do you really think people believe Trump is Hitler? This guy, I mean, what would he say different? All right, with that, I think I need another dose of our middle school hero here.
I swear, I'm done with the girls at our school. Every day, they come into school wearing these tight leggings with Nike white socks up to here over the bottom of the leggings. Then they come in with their Stanley water bottle and they go, and then they wear a sweatshirt that doesn't have a hood. Sometimes it's big, sometimes it's small. Always has a print right here that says like Myrtle Beach or something.
That's my boy.
And then they walk in and they go, "What's up, girl?" I'm done.
There he is. Love that kid. Love that kid. All right, we got the Rascal Flatts Life is a Highway Tour coming to Dickies Arena March 27th. Special guests Laura Elena and Chris Lane. For tickets and information, go to Ticketmaster.com. Or if you want to try and win a pair of tickets from us, text the word highway to 888-787-5543. All right, coming up next, I'm seeing Lefty saying Trump won't accept the election results if he loses. My right-wing friends are saying Kamala won't accept the election results if she loses. Which one do you think is more likely to be true? 800-288-9227. 800-288-9227. I'm James Parker. This is The James Show. News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3.